In this video, you're going to learn the actual process of auditing the smart contract in the industry. That what are the structure we follow, what are the tools we utilize, how we do the testing at the initial stage, then we simply develop the contract. What are the things we have to keep in mind in terms of testing, in terms of developing the functionality, in terms of other vulnerability we have in the smart contract programming language. So I'm going to talk about the complete structure which I follow whenever I audit my contract and whenever I build and work on any of the projects. So this is my complete checklist which I follow personally when I'm auditing any of the smart contract, no matter it's a NFT project, it's a DeFi protocol. I go with the same checklist where I can simply monitor that what testing I have done. So the very first thing I have in my checklist is that pre-auditing preparation. So generally I divide this category in 4 steps. First one is the documentation, that what are the things we're going to include inside the contract and how we're going to structure the entire project, because that's the most fundamental and the most important thing which you have to have before you actually writing the contract. So documentation review I do. After that I move to code base, that what kind of structure we're going to include in the project, that what are the tools, what are the software, what are the external library I can utilize in the project which is going to bring that functionality. So I do the research on the code base. After that I go with the dependency, that what are the tools, what are the external libraries which I'm going to utilize it, whether they are well audited in the contract which I'm going to include it, or I have to build every single thing from scratch. So that's the third thing we have. And at the end I analyze what are the tools I can utilize for testing the contract, because once the contract is developed I have to do the testing of that. One, I'm uncomfortable because right now there is a lot of tools which you can utilize to test your contract, but which you are uncomfortable, which you are in good to utilize the full power to test the contract. So I just check my comfortability. These are the 4 pre-requirement I need to have before I actually go to writing the smart contract. Once we're done with that, after that I move to automatic analysis. This will allow me to recognize the pattern within the contract using external tools. So right now we have multiple libraries with multiple tools which we can utilize it to check the pattern, the common pattern we have in the contract which can lead to any kind of vulnerability. So we have multiple tools like mid-core, we have a Slitter, tons of tools we have which we utilize, in which we have a static analysis, then we have a dynamic analysis, then we have the gas optimization, which is the most important thing, because when you're writing any functionality in the contract you have to check that how much is going to charge. If you don't want to include any kind of variable which is going to cause any kind of extra gas consumption during the function call. So that comes under the automated analysis. These are the 3 things we have in the automated analysis. So after these 2 checklists, we have enough information about the project, enough information about the contract, that what kind of functionality is there, what kind of tools we're going to utilize, what kind of libraries and external program we are using. Once you have these 2 checklists complete, after that you're going to move to a manual review of the code, and this one is a very important thing which you have to do. You cannot be dependent 100% on any tools, any software. You have to give human intervention. You have to sit, you have to do the proper analysis of the code, every single variable, whatever there is in the contract. You have to do the proper analysis for that. So generally we check the reentrancy, we check the integer overflow, underflow. Right now it can be taken very easily by the programming versions, and we have a improper, uncheck and front running vulnerability. So there are tons of checklists we have to do inside the function when we are doing those auditing in the smart contract. So manual review is very much important, because most of the time I get this question, that is it enough to be dependent on totally tools where we can simply write the contract and we can give the auditing to the tools and it's going to do that. You can do it for the learning purpose, but you have to sit and you have to do the analysis. After the manual review, you can move to the functional testing, where you have to check every single function by calling with the front end side, because your user is going to be interact with the front end and what kind of data they are passing. So you have to sit and you have to do the testing and analyze the function, that how it's behaving with the wrong argument. Is there any kind of vulnerability which can lead to a fund loss? Once you're done with that, after that you have to move to the security testing, and that we have multiple things which we consider, like fuzzy testing, and we have oracle manipulation, we have a malicious input data in the smart contract functionality. So these are the couple of things which we have to consider in the smart contract auditing. And after that we have the auditing report, which we have already discussed extensively in the last video, in which I have explained that how you can do the auditing of the contract and how you have to build the report, because that one is the most important thing. The auditing happen in multiple stage. You don't need to write at the complete code and then you have to do the auditing. You have to do the auditing in these states. So first you have analyzed the contract, gather enough information about the programming language which you're going to use, the tools and the software you're going to use, the document about the smart contract, about the feature. First you're done with that. After that, you analyze the structure of the code, and then you're going to build on top of that. So every single stage matter a lot. In that way, you can give your investor 100% assurance that you have done the auditing properly, and that's how you can generate your report, because it's about money. You don't want to build something which can ruin a complete business of any company. You are getting a very good amount of money for getting this particular auditing done, so you have to spend your time and you have to do a thorough analysis of the smart contract. This is the approach we follow in the industry for auditing the smart contract, and I'm going to share the pattern which I follow. Right now I have in front of me, but I cannot share it because I have some clients information in that. So definitely I'm going to share the entire boilerplate, the entire structure. In that, all the tools, everything would be given, so you can simply pick that what are the alternatives you have instead of libraries, which framework you can utilize for developing the smart contract, whether it's for Solana, or you can go for the Rust, Golang, or any other programming language. But the structure is going to be the same when you're going to do the auditing of the contract. You can pick any blockchain, but you have to do the in the same process. So I hope you have understood that how you can do the auditing of the contract and what structure we have to follow in the industry.